What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Social Club featuring me, GrayGamr, and I have some guests on the show today. I'm gonna go right over and introduce you to Howie Blatz. What's your screen name, Howie?
Hello. What gamer tag?
Yeah,
Or
what's your
just-
gamer tag? Yep.
It is don't number 4 get to smile.
That's
don't
on.
forget to smile.
Don't forget to smile. That's on. Now, I know you used to be an Xbox gamer, and you have a PS4 ID as well. And do you still PC game or not? Not as much as you used to.
I mean, like I do some Steam, but the thing is, like as far as PC gaming goes, like I'm one of the hated PC gamers that refuses to play with mouse and keyboard.
Gotcha.
Not because I think controller is better, but because it's better for me because I suck with mouse and keyboard.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha. Yep. And I'm going to go into a little bit more on how he's passed in a few, but I want to go over and introduce you to our other guest today.
Oh my.
Yes, Mondo, the man himself. Mondo250 is your screen name on PSN, correct?
It is. Mondo 250.
Yeah, I know that because we play a lot of games together, Mondo and myself. It's a funny way how we met, the two of us. I met him through Destiny, right?
Correct. The Destiny 1.
Yeah, Destiny 1. So I met a bunch of guys like everybody else who played Destiny. We met a bunch of randos, and you started doing raids together and just random strikes and so on and so forth. Love or hate the game, and we carried over as friends into other games and other genres of games. But speaking of Destiny, we're here today to discuss games as a live service and the level of commitment to this genre of games. And it's just funny that that's how we met. And I didn't even put that together till we just started talking about it. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about the time sink into MMOs and MMO lights, as I like to call them. Especially that Anthem just released, and we have Division on the horizon. I think early pre-orders or the special editions, they get the game tomorrow, I believe, and the rest of the world gets it on Friday, if I'm not correct.
You are correct. Yes.
But I didn't even look into it because, all right, here's the thing. I really liked Division 1, and I was looking forward to Division 2, but it came at the same time that Anthem dropped, so I'm not ready to invest myself into two grinders like this.
Same here.
So, like those looter shooter grinders, it's a big commitment. So playing two of them, one of them is going to go on the back burner, and I'm not ready to give up on Anthem yet. And we'll talk more about the state of Anthem in a little bit as well. But Howie, so how does that work? The pre-orders on Division 2, is it only a certain console gets it early, or was it anyone who pre-ordered it? I didn't even look into that, to tell you the truth.
Okay, so Anthem was kind of console specific. The Division, as far as I know, is not. If you ordered the Ultimate Edition or anything above that, Ubisoft, they have 7 different editions now.
Yeah, every game. Yep.
Various crap depending.
Ridiculous.
But I believe anything Ultimate Edition or Collector's Edition or whatever, if you
Gotcha.
spent $100 or more, you get to play tomorrow.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's how it works. So if on a whim I just went after this podcast was over, I just went to the PSN store and downloaded the basic bitch edition, which is what I usually buy nowadays because I am a gaming basic bitch.
Till Friday, yes.
Yeah, I will have to wait till Friday, so I have plenty of days to think about it. And I had originally said I'm going to wait for it to drop in price, but I know myself and I'll probably won't wait for that price drop to come to fruition. I'll buy it and then a week later it'll drop in price because that's usually how I do things.
Well, not for nothing, dude. That's kind of how games as a service have been over the past couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to already go off on a tangent, and I kind of didn't want to do this because those of you who don't know me, I used to host an old podcast called Geeks Unleashed years ago,
Yep.
and I always was notorious for spiraling out and then having to reel myself back in. So I'm doing it again. But what?
We will put you back on the track, but say what you got to say.
Yeah, so this is the thing. The state of AAA games in 2019 is really in a shaky place because I think that they build up so much hype, which I understand. Listen, everything has to build up hype. If you don't build up a hype train, then it's really not. It's going to get washed amongst all the other sea of games that are out there. So I understand building up the hype train, but what I'm starting to find is that a lot of these AAA games that are like Anthem, for example, it was in development for like 6 years, maybe a little over that. So 6 years of development, and don't get me wrong, listen. The game looks amazing. The sound is, well, when you don't have the sound glitch, which fortunately I haven't had the sound glitch, but I read a lot of people complaining about it. But the sound is amazing. The sound effects are amazing. I really love the combat. I think the combat is great. But, which, you know, when you think about it, an action game really revolves around the core mechanic of combat and movement and flight and fluidity, and I think Anthem has that down pat. I think the game is so much fun to just kill shit for hours on end, but at the same rate, we all know that it launched with a heap of problems. That was almost like some people are comparing it to Fallout 76, which, I mean, I wouldn't go that extreme, because Fallout 76 was pretty friggin' broke. But, I mean, you know, you have some people that are saying that it was crashing their PS4s and it bricked a couple of PS4s, and then you have people who said that it was, you know, locking them out of their PC.
I didn't break mine, but it did give me it acted like somebody pulled a power plug on mine.
I mean, that's scary, you know? Like, fortunately, again, I did not have that. The most thing I had was blue screens, so I didn't have any lockups. I'm running on a PS4 Pro. I don't know if that makes a difference. I know you were running the game on a PS Basic. So I don't know if that has to do with it, but I did hear from my friend Simon, who's also plays on a regular PS4. He said that when he plays Anthem, that you really hear the system heating up and the fans are whirring, and it's putting the system through its paces. So I don't know if that is that a thing. Is that what's causing it? I mean, there really is no excuse for systems crashing. You know, I mean, again, when you're working on a game for 6 years, it should release without all these issues. Now, maybe to be fair, you can say, well, you know what? This is the first game like this BioWare has done, but when your parent company is EA with probably billions of dollars at their, you know, disposal, and so many multiplayer branches of games that even they could have went and said, hey, BioWare, I'm going to give you the number to DICE. Go reach out to those guys. Even though Battlefield 5 launched with some issues as well, they've been doing this for a really long time. You know, maybe reach out to them, see what they're doing. Maybe maybe you can, you know, visit their office and look at their line of code, you know, for a multiplayer game that has 64 people in a match, 32 on each side, and it runs at 60 frames a second. It runs really smooth. So, you know, why don't you guys link up and have a talk? Here's, you know, we'll fund that on the company card. But I don't think that happens, you know, so...
Not for nothing, dude. Like, say what you want about the Battlefield series, whether you're a fan or not. I know you happen to be one, but like whether a person is a fan of the Battlefield series or not, or even the Battlefront games that were completely like torn apart because of shitty business practices.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about them, but they look and run amazing. Like, DICE are wizards when it comes to that engine.
Yep,
you know?
That's true, and that's, you know, what's funny now. You just made me realize that those games run on the Frostbite engine, which DICE created, and so does Anthem. So obviously, they had a hand in this. You know, like, at least maybe not in development, but they were like, "Hey, we're gonna give you our engine to use," or maybe they leased it out. But it should have come with, like, you know, maybe a For Dummies guide, like, "Hey guys, by the way, this is a really intense engine. You know, it does a lot of shit right, but you got to look out for these things." You know.
Dude, when it comes to game performance, I kind of imagine it as like a giant metaphorical EQ. You know, you gotta make sure the sliders are in the right place so it looks good enough and it runs stable. But if one of those little sliders is the slightest bit off, then it's either gonna run like crap or it's gonna look like crap. So it's definitely a dance to balance it out right.
But that's that. Yeah. So that's that. You know, in my opinion, that's that with, you know, with Anthem and the whole thing is going on. But I know, Mondo, you had a lot of I don't know if it's. I don't think hate is the right word, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna use disappointment in
I
Anthem.
was disappointed. It's better now that I hit in game and I've been actually having fun running around with you and the rest of the crew. But like something in the gameplay loop that's supposed to keep me hooked isn't clicking for me.
Mhm. You know
And
what?
this is coming from a dude that you know me. I played Division 1 by myself. Even after everybody quit, I kept playing Division 1 because that game had the gameplay loop with the looter shooter. Man, it had its hooks in me.
See, and you know what's funny? I was thinking about this earlier today too. Now if you're gonna compare Anthem and Division, right? Division definitely has their end game in the right place, and I think that Division has the right level of loot, the way the world difficulty, the way the tiers of world difficulty and the loot all scale. The loot is abundant. The sets are abundant. There's a lot there. I think that even with Division 2, I was seeing a lot of stuff on the skill trees, and once you hit max level and you pick your specialty and the weapon specialty you're going to go with, and they already have plans down the line this year. They're going to drop 3 extra classes. I'm calling them classes. I know they're not called classes, like the sniper rifle, the crossbow, the grenade launcher. They're called something else. I'm going to call them classes for lack of what they actually call it. I think they're called specialties. So
Yeah, specializations. Yeah.
specializations. So it's launching with 3. They're going to give free 3 ones down in the near future. So you already have potentially 6 different play styles, or as I like to call them, classes. The specializations each have their own unique talent tree. And obviously, as you level, you put your points into different skill trees, and you could build that class differently. So I think they have a lot on the plate. They're going to offer a lot. But when I played the open beta for Division 2, I felt, after playing Anthem a lot, I felt that the combat was a bit boring compared to Anthem. So Division was a bit boring compared to Anthem in terms of combat. But Anthem really could learn a few things from Division's loot table, the way they drop loot, the way they upgrade. It's like that carrot on the stick is always there. Now, what I've been putting a lot of time into Anthem, I really do. And the thing is, I love the game, so I love the combat of the game. So I can blow shit up and just decimate things and try to gear up and try to ramp up the difficulty and try to repeat, and I could do that for hours on end. But once you do it for like an hour or 2 in a day, and you've run through only the 3 strongholds they offer, and the stronghold is essentially a dungeon, with different mechanics, and in a boss fight with different mechanics and different phases. So it's very MMO-ish for those of you that play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy. It reminds me of, it has those levels to it. Slight puzzles, go get this and bring them there, and then you go to a thing. They're like mini raids, quick. You can get them done in about, depending on the difficulty, in an hour or less. Unless you ramp up the difficulty and you're having a lot of wipes, then you're going to be, bashing your head against a wall for who knows how long. But so Anthem has the combat right, but what happens is I stop playing, I love the game, and then there's no reward. So the loot is really in a bad place. So, and I'm not saying, listen, I don't want everything handed to me in one day, because I know myself, I have short attention also. If they gave me every masterwork by now, I would be buying the Division already, because what's left to grind? I would have pre-ordered already. But
I haven't played Anthem, but I've heard a couple of things about how you need to grind a stupid amount of materials for a single masterwork and stuff like that. And I understand the grind mentality, but apparently they took it way too far to the point where people were complaining. And I know they've been updating it since it came out. I heard that they actually supposedly fixed the game by accident, then broke it again.
Yes. So, and of course my luck. So I've been playing Anthem a lot, right? And those of you that know me through Twitch know I stream almost every day, and
was it the one day you didn't play?
Here's the thing.
Nice.
I said all week that,
okay,
because I'm usually a PvPer. You guys know me, but those of you joining the podcast right now might not know this, that mostly I play PvP competitive games. I play For Honor, I play any shooter, I play Apex Legends, Battlefields, Call of Duties. I love the competitive nature of those games. But I also like a good grind fest. I like MMOs, so occasionally I'll play those when I need a break. Because every once in a while, I take my games a little too seriously, and I get a little salty. I get a little toxic. So
Just a little bit.
When I'm starting to feel that, when I'm starting to look like the Toxic Avenger, my eyes starting to bubble up, and my skin's turning green, I got to take a break from the toxicity that is PvP games in my world, and I have to go back to PvE games. So I've been taking a break from PvP while I dive into Anthem, but I promised everyone from my stream and my friends that keep sending me invites while I'm trying to grind that they want me to play these, multiplayer games with them. I said, okay, it's going to be Friday night fights this Friday, and I'm going to play only PvP games and no Anthem. I promised everybody. And what happened? Supposedly Friday, all day, something broke, and they were awarding legendaries and masterworks. They were just raining.
I read about that.
And I said, of course, I put about 30 hours in, and the one day, I didn't put in my X amount of hours when everyone was getting rewarded. And then the next day, when I did a 5-hour Anthem stream, it was broken to shit. I streamed Anthem for 5 hours, and I was doing Grandmaster 2 dungeon runs, Grandmaster 2 stronghold runs, which is the difficulty right under the hardest difficulty in the game. And I wasn't getting any masterwork drops. Forget about legendaries when you see those drops, you think you're seeing things. I rub my eyes that's not yellow, that's a green and a purple together. No, that can't be, because it's that rare. It's like the Holy Grail.
Which is the better one, legendary?
Legendary.
Or
Legendary.
Legendary.
Really? I thought Masterwork was the yellow. Okay,
Mm-mm.
so I got it a
Masterwork's the
little
orange.
backwards.
Yep, Masterwork is the orange, and Legendary is the yellow. And
okay,
as many hours as I've put in, I got so far only 3 legendaries. So they're very rare, unless you're blessed by RNGesus, as we like to call them. With the random numerical generated numbers, the RNG.
Dude, I understand. I got maybe 1 orange out of all the hours I ever put into Borderlands 2 back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Borderlands 2.
That's crazy. But, so when I went back, like I said, in a 5-hour stream, I think I got maybe 6 or 7 masterworks. Though that's really bad, especially when the masterworks they give are so random that you wind up breaking them down anyway. Because at this rate, your character has almost, when you put in as much time, you get to end game, you start running all the strongholds, the legendary contracts, harder, difficulty, free play, you're gearing your character out. He has full orange gear, but now you're looking for the trifectas. You're trying to perfect that item. You're trying to get the inscribed items to have the best crit or the best sniper. Whatever your build is going for, you're going for blast damage, you're going for elemental damage, are you going for more shield, are you going for more crit? That's what we're looking for. But it's so random that most of the time you're getting, I have legendary items. This is how broken the system is. I have legendary items that are worse than my mastercraft. I'm like, I don't even use this legendary because my mastercraft, I got lucky, it has better stats on it. And in this state of the game, it really shouldn't have. Legendary should be that. It should be legendary. It should have something to it that makes it far superior to your masterwork, because that's what you're telling us. And by the percentage of drop rate, it should be that like the Holy Grail should just appear on the screen. You should get that. The heavens should sing to you when you see this drop.
Division eventually got it right, and I don't know if you played back when this is implemented, but Division, let's say you get a piece of classified gear. Classified is you call it your legendary, and every piece of gear has 3 stats on it. And then when they implement it, you can what's it called? You can reroll one of the perks on that piece of armor, just one though. So you would still have to farm for multiple pieces if that's what you're going for, or you can re-roll your gear each piece. That's what I did. I ended up crafting and min-maxing 3 of the builds that I like the most.
See, so this is another thing that that they could have. I don't want to use the word steal, but I mean, who your direct competitors are, right? You're going into making a game that's a live service game. and BioWare is going and saying, "Hey, we're creating this game," and everyone was comparing it to Destiny. But from when I played in the alpha, I was like, "This is not really like Destiny." Besides the overall aesthetics to the game, and maybe like the space magic, whatever you want to call it, and like
Space magic.
I call it space
because
magic.
the storm and the wizard aren't the same thing.
Yeah. So, but I compared it more to like Mass Effect Andromeda, and I felt it was actually derived more from that. But anyway. Back to they're building Anthem up, right? Your direct competitors are Destiny and the Division. Those are the two closest games to what you're doing. Yeah, you could use Diablo. Yeah, you could use Path of Exile. You could use all those ARPGs. But honestly, Division and Destiny are closest to your title than anything else. Mm-hmm. Why would you not look through? Like, I would have had teams combing through those games and playing them over and over again and dissect, saying, what does this game do right? What does this game do wrong? And what does this game do right? What does this game do wrong? Let's learn from these two.
But look who learned real fast. Mm-hmm. Apex Legends came out with and their ping system is phenomenal. And Fortnite, which is already out and been growing like crazy, then their latest patch, what did they implement? A ping system.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, Apex Legends. When I first played it, it's funny.
And you don't even like battle royales.
I don't like battle royales. Everyone who knows me knows I don't like battle royales. I played Realm Royale for a minute. I thought it was cool because of the whole like kind of World of Warcraft like spin on classes, and you have a warrior and a mage.
Was that the one where you had like magic users and shit? It was like battle royale, but with mages. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. It was like a mage, a rogue, like shit like that. So, and when you kill someone, they turn into a chicken with a white flag, and then you got to kill the chicken. It was like it was basically Pixar meets World of Warcraft, kind of like like a goofy, fun. It was made by the guys who make Paladins. All
right.
So it had that same. It's actually based in the Paladins world, so it even uses a lot of the same skills and so on and so forth. But anyway, with the exceptions of Realm Royale and Apex Legends is the only two battle royales I play. I'm not a big fan of the genre, but what I liked about Apex Legends is the three-man squads. I thought it was the right number, and just. Man, Respawn killed it. It's tight controls. Really
you know
good.
what? Like, credit where credit is due. Respawn has been killing it basically from the beginning. The Titanfall games were...
I liked both Titanfall games. I played a shitload of Titanfall 2.
Yeah, let me put it this way. The first Titanfall, like, it had a little growing pains, and it was a little lacking on content. Titanfall 2 was a masterpiece that nobody played.
Exactly.
It's funny.
I actually own Titanfall 2 on two different consoles. I have it on PS4 and I have it on Xbox One.
Actually, I think I saw a deal today. You can buy Titanfall 2 for $5, which if you don't buy that, you're a fool.
Dude, it's always on sale. It's on sale for $5, $10, and like, yeah, it's crazy worth it.
The single player is amazing. The multiplayer is fun. Somebody out there, go buy Titanfall 2 right now.
Yeah, well, after this cast is over, you'll link the $5 deal to me, and I'll probably pick it up. It's $5. I mean, come on.
But that's the thing.
We live in New York. I live in New York. I spent more than that on a coffee, so
As far as Anthem goes, like, would you say that just in general, like both of you guys, obviously you've played it. Like, I haven't, but like I know enough about it. As far as Anthem goes, would you say you're more disappointed because of just the state of the game itself, or are you more disappointed because it's BioWare and you expected better?
State of the game.
State of the game.
Okay.
I'm not a BioWare, like, listen, they have their cult following.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect anything from BioWare because I liked Dragon Age. Don't get me wrong, I really liked Dragon Age, and Knights of the Old Republic and all that. I didn't really get into those when I was younger. When they first came out, everyone was going crazy. Mass Effect, I got into later down. It's funny because when Mass Effect came out, I was always a Sony gamer. I didn't have the Xbox when it dropped, so I was always like, whatever. I'll pick it up one day down the line. And then when Mass Effect 2 dropped, it came out on PS3 at the time, and my friend lent it to me. And I was like, you know what? I got into the play. I'll play your Mass Effect 3. I played it, and I fell in love with Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2. And then when Mass Effect 2 came out, I played it. I think I got every achievement or trophy. I played the hell out of that game. I thought it was amazing. Pre-ordered Mass Effect 3. I played it, and I loved the multiplayer on it. I thought the multiplayer was amazing. And when the multiplayer came out on 3, I don't know what year that was. I'll have to look that up.
I believe it was 2012 or
Maybe.
2011.
I'll take your word for it because I'll have to Google that in a minute.
It was shortly before the Xbox One and PS4 were out.
Yep, so. And when that dropped, I think that the multiplayer was something fresh, that they did. That it was like PvE in a small instance-based match where you had different objectives that always were changing, and it was like the same pool of objectives, but it rotated between 3 factions of enemies, and you had to unlock these loot crates, which you could buy, of course, which I did buy a few of them back in the day, or you just earn enough coin in-game through, like, if you played about 10 matches, you'd earn enough coin to buy one, which would give you a chance at unlocking new guns and new character classes. And after I beat the singles player campaign, let me tell you, I played that multiplayer to no end. So, it's funny because I just said, well, this is the first big multiplayer game that BioWare has done, but they did smaller, scale stuff. Like they did it with Mass Effect 3. They did it with Dragon Age Inquisition. They took the concept from Mass Effect 3 and they built it into Inquisition. They made it a little more streamlined. You had the boss fights. It was the same idea, just different world. And then when Andromeda came out, I was honestly expecting something big from their multiplayer in Andromeda. And when I saw it was just a reskin version of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, I was a little disappointed. But my disappointment in Anthem is not because I'm a BioWare fan and I love their past titles. Because I think when a company releases a new game, especially a totally new, like a totally new idea, they're coming out with a new like intellectual property. Anthem is the first one like this. So yeah, you see little tweaks of all their games in it, but this is the first Anthem. The same way it was the first Destiny. Like, I didn't hold Destiny on a pedestal because, they made Halo.
Because Bungie or Halo, yeah.
I was like, whatever. Let me see what this game is about, because this is something new. So I never really hold... What I will say is I hold sequels to the past. So this is totally different genre, but when Street Fighter V came out, and I looked at it and it didn't look as exciting as Street Fighter 4, or when Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out and I thought it wasn't as good as Marvel vs. Capcom Ultimate 3, then it's different. Then I was a little disappointed because I was like, all right, this kind of took a weird sidestep. I'm not going to say a step backwards. It took like a sidestep, and it doesn't feel like a true sequel. It kind of feels like a new idea, or what could have been maybe an expansion on a game, but not an actual full game. Then I get really disappointed. But with Anthem, I'm more disappointed in the state of the end game. I'm going to be honest, I think that the grind up to endgame was a little boring. I was getting bored. I skipped all the story scenes.
Me too. I got bored, dude.
I heard about you have to collect and kill this amount of things and do that and collect like treasure chests and crap.
Well, they fixed it because when it first came out, it was like
it was one of those inflated like fucking padding of the game. Like
so you hit this mission where you have to collect and do all these things, right?
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass, but people complained enough about it, and then BioWare went ahead and made it retroactive. So it starts tracking your progress toward these things at level 4, I think. But man, people were the second people hit the mission, like outrage.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine. Because again, it's like it's a very clear example of just padding for time, and like it's a like artificial grind at that point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get there are points in Anthem where it feels like they're purposely putting, speed bumps to slow you down purposely, and I understand that they don't want people to be finished with it quickly, because especially since it's putting up air quotes, a live service game, and they need this to keep running for a long time, so they want to trickle content down to keep us invested in the game, logging in every day, because you know why? When they have to go to those meetings with upper management and they have to go, to their investors, and they have to say, well, look, for the past month, we've had 25 million people log in every day. Give us another grant for our next game. I understand that's how the industry kind of works, but at the same rate, you're trickling in content and you're just kind of burning you're burning the audience out in essence because there's not enough of the loot. Now, again, 6 years of development. I should have a lot more. There should be a lot more versions of Masterworks. I feel like each gun has one Masterwork version of it.
Dude, 6 years of development, I would want those guns to look different. All the guns in the game look the same.
All the guns, yeah, they have like the same aesthetic. They might be a slightly different color, but at least like even with something like Destiny 2, like you get like 2 different shotguns that could look entirely different. Like, whereas I heard with Anthem, it's mostly just different colors.
No, they all look the same.
Yeah. I mean, there's like the skins are so minor, like the changes are so minor on the skins to the exotics that you don't even see them. It's not like a totally different model, and that's the thing. It's not like a total like, oh wow, I got this Masterwork and it's like a remodeled version of the gun where maybe it looks like a crazy plasma cannon or like some future space gun. They all look like kind of just regular military.
It looks like your level 1 assault rifle.
Yeah,
and it's funny because like you would think it sounds like a nitpicky kind of thing, but when you're grinding for hours and hours to get these crazy weapons, like you want more than just, oh, it looks exactly like the shotgun I had before, but the numbers are higher under it. See?
Now, what I will say, some of the guns. All right, to be fair, some of the guns are really cool. Like they have the ones that have like modifiers, like on your fifth bullet that connects, it does fire burst damage and then ignites them, or you have the 133% chance to call down a lightning strike on someone, or you have one rifle that's a burst fire rifle that it's a 3-round burst, and if all 3 rounds hit a weak point on the enemy, it does an explosion that does an AoE like blast damage. So you have some of these really cool ideas, and those guns, when you use them, they're really fun. The sniper rifle that the third shot freezes the target solid in ice. I mean, those are some really cool mechanics. I want to see more though. Like that's the thing. I want to see more of them. I want to see more like that. I want to see more Masterwork skills. Now the skills, they're not called skills, but I'll call them skills because for those of you that didn't play Anthem, the gear, they're called gear. So like you have different launchers, assault launchers, that. It's just your skill. So you get, if you're using the Ranger, you might have a rocket. Your R1 will be rocket-based abilities, and your L1 is grenade-based abilities. And they change depending on the quality of the item and what the item is. But there's really not that many. Like the Ranger has like an ice grenade, he's got a sticky grenade, he's got a blast grenade, he's got seeker grenades, which throws out like a cluster, and then they home in on somebody, and he has a fire grenade, which blankets the area in like napalm. So they're cool. And then you get Masterwork versions of them, which add a little nuance to them, which will be like, for example, the Masterwork version of the fire grenade. If you light 2 people on fire at the same time, it does a fire blast damage to everything in the area. All right, that's cool. But that's it for that. There's only one variation of that fire grenade, like as a Masterwork. So once you get that one fire grenade Masterwork, now you're just getting all different ones with different stats and different inscriptions on it. Does it have extra fire damage? Does it have crit? Does it have it might have pistol damage. Sometimes, I know they fixed this. At one point, you were getting stats on your character that for items you couldn't even use,
or useless ones.
Yeah, like there was ones I would get stats on my Ranger's gear that said plus to autocannons. Now only the Colossus can use autocannons, so why am I getting plus to autocannons?
Let's go back to something that's really kind of annoying me right now. Mm-hmm. You said stats. This is a looter shooter with stat-based weapons and skills and gear, and we don't have a stats page.
That's got to be fixed ASAP.
Why can't I see? Why can't I see what my total fire damage is? Why can't I see what my total luck skill is? Like, I'm not trying to do math here on my own. Damage,
crit, health. Can I see what my health is? I have no idea. I have no idea how much health a shield I have. I have lots of items on my character that gives me 90% shield extra, 80% health extra, which is called armor in this game. But I actually have no idea how much my numbers are, so I don't know how much I'm increasing it.
Man, the more we talk about it, the more this game is not good.
But then you play it, and the combat is great. So it's fun. It's fun to roll in, use these crazy abilities, and that's I'm backpedaling here because I don't want people to walk away from this and say, "Fuck that game, I'm not buying it." They made it sound like shit because it's that I expect a lot more from
a triple A developer,
from a triple A developer with millions and millions of dollars and as many titles under their belt as they have to deliver. Now, if Anthem was created by a smaller, by Fat Shark, by all means, I'd be like, yo, Fat Shark knocked it out of the ballpark. This game is fucking awesome. But it's not made by Fat Shark. It's made by EA and BioWare, and they have a lot of money. There's really nothing else you could say to it, and that's... Now, I do think that the game is going to improve over time. I really do. So, those of you on the fence, I think that...
It better.
There's no way it's not going to... I mean, look, even you want to talk about a game improving,
Division.
Battlefront 2 is a completely different game now, and people absolutely, like the people who stuck with it, they love it. I just have no interest in it, so I'm not going to go back in and play it again. But supposedly, I mean, the game was so ruined in the beginning, and not even that it was the gameplay was bad. The loot box conspiracy kind of just put a really dark cloud on it and made you not even want to touch it. I bought the damn game and I played it and it was really fun. But you know what? Every time I told people, "Oh, I'm going to play Battlefront today," I got shit on for playing the game. Because people like, "You're part of the problem. You're funding these guys. You're part of the problem. You're supposed to boycott, not buy the game." I'm like, but it's a fun game. And then like, I had to feel guilty that I'm playing a game that I enjoyed, and it kind of like ruined it. That everyone hated the game so much that I'm supposed to hate it too, but I didn't. But
honestly, dude, everybody hated that game so much for so long that eventually, a few months down the line, I wound up picking it up for $8. I got it for $8 and I justified it to myself by saying, like, look, I'm not a multiplayer gamer. I never really was. Like, I've played multiplayer game. Like, despite not being a multiplayer gamer, I have 155 hours logged into Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. If you know me, that's saying something.
Yeah.
But like, I picked it up because it was $8. It was on sale on it was on sale at both PlayStation and Xbox, to be honest. But I grabbed it because I was curious about the campaign. And I'm like, you know what? For $8, even if I never touch the multiplayer, it's worth it to me just to satisfy my curiosity about the campaign. Not for nothing, the campaign was kind of fun. The story was really stupid, and the fact that it's canon like bothers me a little as a Star Wars fan. But the campaign itself was fun. Mm-hmm. And like by the end of it, did you know they actually came out with campaign DLC to tie the ending together?
No, I had no idea because I told you I was guilted into play. I was guilted to stop playing it. So, and then I was like, man, I guess I'm a piece of shit for liking this game, so I'm just not going to play it anymore because it's my fault that EA's coffers are full because I keep throwing money at them. I just wave fists of money at EA and say, take it. I play every game that DICE releases. I like DICE games. I think they are a great company.
Hey, like we said before, like they are good at what they do. Like, you're gonna get that gorgeous looking, rock solid 60 FPS gameplay no matter what console you're on.
But they definitely they definitely turned it around on Battlefront. So I think that they're gonna turn it around on Anthem, but will it be too little, too late? And that's the thing.
I mean, like, but I'll go back to the Division again. Like, remember how broken that game was in release, and we played the crap out of it.
But here's the thing: Division was a fun kind of a broken.
Yeah, I mean, we exploited the crap out of that. But then Ubisoft listened to the community. They kept listening, kept improving things, and that game, if Division 2 releases where Division 1 is now, it's going to be super solid game.
Of course, it's going to be super solid. And I have faith in Ubisoft because, I mean, I look at how they turned around For Honor. I looked at how they turned around the Division, and even Rainbow Six Siege. In the beginning, that was broken too. I feel like Ubisoft...
Rainbow Six Siege is an entirely different game.
Listen, now. Ubisoft, they only release broken games also. That's back to what we were saying in the beginning. The state of AAA games is in 2019 is in a really weird spot.
Ubisoft is kind of an exception to an extent because if you've noticed the past couple of years, like every single Ubisoft game, they're melding more and more together. Like the past couple of years, like Far Cry is more like Assassin's Creed now. Assassin's Creed is more like Far Cry, and the Division is more like this. And like there's loot elements and everything. There's RPG elements and everything. Basically, they're ubificating all of their games.
Ubificating.
So,
That's a good
yeah.
one.
So I call it
Howie.
I call it ubification. I'm sure I did not coin the term. I've definitely heard it before. But it's a great way of thinking because you look at every single Ubisoft game, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Division, etc. All
and
of
my
them.
favorite, Faux Honor.
But like they all have like 7 different editions now. They all have like shitty business practices to an extent.
Yeah.
But they're kind of the mid ground. They're not as bad as EA, but they're not as good as say like CD Projekt Red, who are just in like a class of their own when it comes to that. But all the Ubisoft games are very similar to each other now, and because they're able to do that, like they can consistently polish everything to like a mirror sheen and put it out. Like, yeah, they'll still be buggy in release, but give it like a month or two, and they are very solid games.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a whole lot of issues, with the Division being an exception because it is like that straight up multiplayer game, whereas the other stuff I mentioned, it's open world, but it's mostly single player.
But the truth is, and Mondo was actually coming up with this the other day. He brought this up when, even as broken as Division was when it launched, they did a lot of things that were amazing. The seamless drop in, drop out, you know.
Yeah, dude. Like, when Anthem was teased, they even showed you, like, let's say if you two were playing, hey, turn on my PS4. I see you guys are playing on my friends list, and I'm gonna hop in, and I can seamlessly hop into your party.
Yep.
Where is that feature now?
And that real slow walk into the post office that was disguising a loading screen.
Yes. They
Dude,
fixed that later, but yeah.
Again, like obviously I'm not that huge of a multiplayer gamer, but I got my 50 hours in Division. I've played it. I beat the campaign. I beat the final boss of the game, which was a fucking helicopter. But...
I mean, Frank could tell you, like, Division was like the longest time like my go-to game. Like,
I heard it got so much better. And
oh man, it's good. It's really good.
My friend got like the $100 edition with the season pass, and I never actually played any of the DLC.
I did too.
And back to what you said earlier, like about special editions and pre-ordering, guys. I think I'm done pre-ordering. Like, I'm done. I'm done.
I can never say I'm done pre-ordering because
I'm done pre-ordering, man.
You know why I pre-order? It has nothing to do with the early access and the fucking bullshit skin they give you or the fucking gun that gets out-leveled within 30 minutes of gameplay. I pre-order so that the game is preloaded on my system. So when when it's ready to go at launch, I turn my system on and I'm ready to play when I get home from work. Because unfortunately,
I'm very much in that same camp. Like I
don't think I'm done.
It'll be like the day before a midnight launch, just so it's ready to go. Because I like.
And that's my reasoning behind pre-ordering. It's never like, you know,
like, I want that pre-order bonus, like freaking dildo skin for my shotgun.
Yeah. Hey, what was that game with the dildo bat?
Oh, that was Saints Row.
Saints Row. There we go.
The
Penetrator.
The big purple dildo bat.
That's what it was called. The Penetrator. Yeah.
But man, like I think it might be done pre-ordering. I say that now, but we'll see what happens.
Well, once Frank rolls through with the hype train, then it's all gonna be.
You've burned me, Frank. You've burned me good.
So again, this brings up a good thing. We were actually we were discussing. I have a private group chat with a bunch of my gaming friends, and we stumbled across this article on the internet that said it's okay to stop playing games. And it was talking about how some people feel when they drop $60 on a game and they put 30, 40, 50 hours in trying to get to end game, and they get to end game. A lot of people will continue playing these games even though they're not happy, they're not having fun, they're playing like out of commitment. And I want to say there's a part of our brain that's a little bit of addiction, but I think that some people do feel like I I spent really hard-earned money on this. I can't go out and spend another game. I'm having a miserable fucking time, but I'll be damned if I give up on this now because I dropped my hard-earned money on this.
Oh, absolutely. Just basically playing a game out of spite.
Yes. Yes, that's
pretty
true.
much what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like taking it was like when back in the day when they used to, when someone did something sinful and they had to like whip themselves.
Self-flagellation, I
yes.
believe.
So it's that's kind of what people are doing to themselves. Now, anyone who knows me personally knows I have no issue. Listen, I'm not a man with endless amounts of money to throw at my screen, but if I buy a game and I don't like it, I don't feel bad to turn it off and never turn it back on again. I'm like, wow, that was a mistake. That game is trash, and I'm not playing it, However, there are games that I continue to play because I do see the potential in them, and they have good aspects. And Anthem is probably going to be one of them for me. I'm going to continue playing it because, like I said, the core mechanics are great, and I know it's only a matter of time till they fix it. But here,
don't get me wrong. I'm sure the game will be amazing like a year from now. The problem is, a year from now, will anyone give a shit anymore?
That's
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because because of how successful, like it or not, the games as a service model is, like, there are going to be at least 4 or 5 more games like this within the next year or so. Some that haven't even been announced yet. And eventually it's like, okay, if those come out and they're better or they're newer or they have different ideas, like, out of sight, out of mind.
Man, in my life, there's only room for one lifestyle game. It was Division, and now I hedged my bets on Anthem, and I lost. Luckily for me,
continue.
I'm saying, luckily for me, like I'll be out of town for a good while when Division 2 comes out. So I'll get to see like the reviews and like the
hopefully get some time for them to fix the initial bugs.
And I'm sure, like I said earlier, if they release Division 2 or Division 1 is now, it'll be solid. But I'll get to see the whole release cycle from from offshore or whatever, and then I can make a more informed decision as opposed to my usual just buying into the hype train.
Dude, I'll be honest, man. Like this 3-month block, like February, March, April, is just murderer's row for your wallet. In my case, anyway.
Man, I just bought a game today. I bought Payday 2 for the Switch so I can play with some coworkers.
Yeah.
We can do local co-op.
But that's the thing. Like, you had Far Cry New Dawn, which it's more Far Cry. Like, whether you like it or not, it's more Far Cry. You may not love the game, but they're always polished to a mirror sheen, like I was saying before. You had Metro Exodus, which I've got about 10 hours in so far, and I love that game.
Yeah, I heard that's pretty good.
It's I would call it a AA game because like it's good. They're not an indie dev, but for a game like this, it's a little janky. You get stuck on shit. It's a little buggy, but
still fun though, right?
It's a very good game. Yes. You had Crackdown 3 that got mediocre reviews across the board, but A, I have Xbox Game Pass, so I got it for free, essentially. And B, I found it as a very, very good, like, popcorn, turn your brain off kind of game. Like, if you want to, like, I don't know, like, relax after a hard day of work, like, have a couple of beers and just sit there and blow shit up for a few hours, it is very good at that. The thing that people hated about Crackdown 3 is the fact that it doesn't bring anything new to the table. And I'm thinking, like, okay, granted, it's, like, been 12 years since Crackdown 1, but if you liked Crackdown 1, does it have to be innovative?
Yeah. I mean, look at Dynasty Warriors. You want to talk about...
Yeah, Dynasty Warriors has been the same game for 2 decades now.
I've been playing...
Except for 9.
I've been playing Dynasty Warriors since... I remember the first Dynasty Warriors I played on PS1, and it was a 1v1 fighting game that was trying to be like Soul Calibur or Tekken, and then after that it became what the Dynasty Warriors we know now, and it really hasn't changed. Listen, in their idea, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just keep releasing 2 versions every year. And
Yep.
you know,
Warriors Orochi and Hyrule Warriors. And
Yeah.
didn't they have Fire Emblem Warriors
they
recently?
did, and they had Dragon Quest
so many.
Warriors, and they had
There's so many.
Warriors All Stars, and they had Samurai Warriors. Like, I mean, the list goes on, you know. And they all look fun. Even now that I think about it, I have a Warriors game on my PS4. It's One Piece, the anime. One Piece Pirate Warriors. That's probably my favorite Warriors game to come out in ages. Because you know why? The anime, like, over-the-top aesthetic and move set for all these crazy characters really is way more fitting in that type of gameplay. But, you know, I don't.
Yeah,
we'll get into Warriors games another time.
But yeah, like basically, like I was talking about, like the month. Well, you also have Anthem. You have the Division 2. You have Devil May Cry 5, which just came out like 3 days ago, and everyone is sucking this game's dick.
Yes,
Everyone's saying
that was I never heard about that game. It was like a stealth release, actually.
What, Devil May Cry 5?
So. Yeah, I never heard any hype or anything about Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, there definitely was. It just kind of bubbled under the surface.
And the truth is, right now, it's like I think Capcom is in a phase where they're in a groove right now. I mean, they had
Resident Evil 2 remake was outstanding.
It started with Monster Hunter.
And Monster Hunter is so good.
That was a very good game.
You know, Monster Hunter World.
So good.
And then I went to Resident Evil 7. Wait, did 7 come out before Monster Hunter World?
7 came out the year before Monster Hunter World.
Okay, so it was Resident Evil 7.
Oh, wait.
2016, I believe.
Yeah, so it was Resident Evil 7, then Monster Hunter World, which really blew up, and then...
Or the beginning of 2017.
Then Resident Evil 2 Remake, and now Devil May Cry. And yeah, everybody's like, you know...
Dude, I have an embarrassing amount of time in Resident Evil 2 Remake already. Like, I've almost platinumed the game.
Nice. See, that was one thing I wanted to discuss on this episode about the time sync comparison of single player games as to MMOs, MMO not lights, but we're running out of time, so we're going to save that for another episode.
All right.
And yeah, so we'll probably wrap it up here with the, you know, like I said, we talked about the state of AAA games, Anthem versus Division. I don't want people walking away from this episode thinking that, you know, Anthem is a bad game. Just know that it's... Just watch a lot of different YouTube videos and try not to only click on the ones that are hating on it, because there's a lot to hate.
There's a lot of hate out there.
But there's a lot to love also, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's a work in progress, which is the state of most games as a service. It's like the curse of the game as a service model to begin with. Like, they're always going to be light on content because they expect you to keep coming back. You know, but that doesn't necessarily make the game bad.
I just I guess we'll call it a flip side or whatever. But if a game spent 6 years in development, I want a somewhat polished and somewhat finished game.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, it's not necessarily multiplayer, but like a Red Dead Redemption 2. What was that? Like 8 years in development. And that game was like amazing.
Not the multiplayer.
I feel like
though.
the thing with Anthem
was fucking doo-doo pies.
I'm talking about like the game itself, like
Red Dead Online has its but the
that's fine.
Was amazing.
But like as far as a polished game upon release, like Red Dead single player was, you can tell they spent time on that game.
Mm-hmm. That's why it basically cleaned house at all the award shows. You know.
The game made me had feelings, dude.
You genuinely gave a shit about every character in that entire game.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, Anthem ain't taking home no awards, I'll tell you that. But
nope.
But it has potential.
But then again, no. Listen, you got to compare it like this. When you go to the Oscars, right? You're not gonna see any kung fu flicks at the Oscars, okay? You're not gonna see Kill Bill at the Oscars. You're not gonna see Infinity War at the Oscars. You're not gonna see what was that game? What was that movie with the guy who was like with the I'll have to think about it another time.
That doesn't help us, Frank.
I know. Remember that he had like Crank. Remember that movie Crank where he had to like
Jason Statham.
Yeah. You're never gonna see him at the Oscars, okay? So like these action multiplayer over the top crazy, they're not gonna win Game of the Year awards, all right? They're not meant for that. But at the same rate, people still love going to see these movies. Listen.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Medea, right? That's those movies.
Oh God,
Madam Medea. Listen, they have like 4,000 of them, and it's all successful at the box office. He ain't going to the Oscars, I'll tell you that much. But people love him, so we can't always expect everything to be Game of the Year edition. But I mean, let's be realistic. EA also did get the Golden Turd Award at one point a couple years back. So.
Well, EA's been like rated worst company in America like a bunch of years straight.
Whoop, sorry about that. A little background noise coming in. But anyway, we're going to use this moment to wrap up the episode. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you to Howie Blatz for being a guest on the show today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
No problem. Thank you to Mondo for coming in and giving your 2 cents.
Yeah, he appears to be having technical difficulties, though at least it's a good time for him to be having them at the end. But he says goodbye.
All right, and we'll catch you all on the flip side.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, there he is.
There you go. We were just wrapping up just in time. So, Mondo, thank you for joining us on the first episode of The Social Club. And everyone will catch you on the flip side. See you next time at The Social Club.
Yep.
Peace out.